Many people ask me the secret to making serious money. I tell them the truth, but nobody ever believes me. It is like trying to explain quantum physics to a goldfish. They just blink and swim away. Listen up, most of you have been fed a load of crap about learning, and it is holding you back from everything, from playing a guitar to making $1 million. You think success comes from burying your face in textbooks for 12 hours a day, right? Because that is what school taught you. That is what society hammered into your head. Study hard, get good grades, get a degree, and then, poof, job security. Let me tell you, that is some serious fairy tale nonsense. Think about it. How much of that textbook knowledge, that 95% of stuff you crammed for an exam, actually stuck? How much of it did you apply to real life? To actually do something? I'd bet my last Bitcoin less than 1%. And that is being generous, folks. You hear the stories all the time. Oh, I went to college, got my fancy degree, and now I'm selling artisanal pickles on Etsy. Or, I got a job in my field, but they told me to forget everything I learned because I had to learn on the job. Shocker, right? You actually have to learn how to do things by doing them. Wild concept, I know. And here's the kicker. You're putting your life, your precious limited life, on hold for 4, sometimes 8 years because you're told you need to achieve this statuses given by society so you can get a job. A job you'll probably be stuck in for the rest of your life. That, my friends, is a tragedy, a total waste of your most valuable asset time. So, let's cut to the chase. You're probably wasting every single second you spend learning in the traditional sense. And I am not exaggerating. Schools, bless their cotton socks, are designed to make you learn at a snail's pace. They're like those old dial-up modems. Remember those. If learning is about being useful, about getting what you want out of life. Imagine what you could achieve if you actually learned how to learn fast. If you knew how to learn anything, rapidly, you could achieve 10 goals in the same time it takes the average person to achieve one. And let's be real, most people won't even achieve that one goal until they've graduated, or learned enough, which is code for never. This video is your wake-up call. We're going to uncover exactly how to learn anything fast. And no, I'm not going to bore you with neuroscience jargon or fluffy psychology theories. This is about practical, actionable steps. It is pretty simple, actually, but sometimes the simplest truths are the hardest to swallow, especially for brains conditioned to complexity. We're diving into 3 game-changing insights. Internalize these, and you'll be a learning machine, a skill acquisition, ninja. Insight. Number 1. Skill acquisition equals technique stacking. Now this should blow your mind. Everything you can do is a skill. Think about that for a second. It is not just playing the piano or coding, it is getting into a better relationship, making new friends, starting a business, improving your career, articulating your thoughts clearly, persuading people, even controlling your reactions to life's crap. That is right. Even your emotional regulation is a skill. Remember that old Stoic wisdom, control. What you can control, if you can't control something, you can control your reaction to it. You can control how you perceive life, how you act, and how you achieve your goals. You can control your mind, and by doing so, ease most of the pain in your life, or at the very least, transmute that pain into calm. You won't be skipping through fields of daisies in constant euphoria, but you can be okay with where you are, even when the negative thoughts try to crash the party. That, my friends, is a skill, a powerful one. If you can learn something, you can practice it until it becomes second nature. You'll slice through life with elegance, with grace, effortlessly. Imagine a guitar player nailing a solo without even thinking, or a basketball pro sinking 3-pointers with 99% accuracy. They've stacked techniques relentlessly until it is just them. You're not there yet. In whatever your chosen pursuit is, it takes effort, it takes persistence. But once you get there, in multiple areas, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your mindset, your mental health, imagine that, just master those 4 domains: mind, body, spirit, business, and your life will be pretty damn good. Probably in the top 1%. But here's where most people screw up. They try to learn skills as a whole. They say, I'm going to start a business. And then they try to learn about business. You don't learn about business. You don't get a business degree to start a business. There is no single skill called busyness. As Naval Ravikant probably said, you don't learn business, you do business. Let's make this more practical. I want to acquire the skill of playing the guitar. That is still a whole skill, a massively disordered task. Your focus is going everywhere. Your attention is split, overwhelming you to the point of thinking you can't do it. When you say you want to learn guitar, you're talking about 5 to 10 years of study and practice. There are thousands of books, YouTube videos, articles, and self-proclaimed gurus all telling you the best way to learn, and you just get paralyzed, overwhelmed. These resources, they can't teach you how to play. They can only show you things to experiment with. Because when you're actually playing, you're not thinking, oh, I'm hitting an E chord. Oh, I need to mute this string. No. Once you're good, you just do it. It is a part of you. You've rewired your brain. You are a guitar player. It is like driving or walking, second nature. So how do we shortcut this whole process? How do we cut through the noise and only learn what is necessary to make progress, whether it is playing guitar or making money? The secret: skills are composed of techniques. If I want to learn guitar, I don't start learning. I start playing, because the whole point of playing guitar is to play a song. So you start there. That is step one. Start with the purpose. What are you trying to achieve? Now, you're in a dilemma, right? You try to play, and you can't. You have a song in mind, you have the purpose, but you can't do it. So what do? That is when you start learning, in the traditional sense. But now your learning is focused. You're not reading an entire textbook. You're finding that one little technique you need to know to reach the next step. If I can't play the first note because I don't know how to read sheet music, I look up how to read sheet music. I find a cheat sheet, I understand the notes. Then I look up how to play that note on guitar. I learn the finger placement, I practice it. It sounds decent. And if you repeat this process of trial, experimenting, correcting yourself, learning the specific knowledge for your unique goal, you'll eventually play that song, even if it sounds a bit like a dying cat. You'll do it, and the more you practice, the better you get. Within 2 weeks, you could play that song and then you keep stacking. The next song maybe a week, the next 3 days soon, you're learning a song a day. You've got 80 to 90% of the fundamentals down. Then it is just about showing up, increasing the challenge over time. But here's a crucial point. Why are you learning? What is the purpose? If you're just learning because you're bored, and it doesn't serve any utility, doesn't increase your value, doesn't become a part of who you are, then why bother? If you're not going to do it every day for the rest of your life, then either admit you're doing something pointless and eliminate it, or don't learn it at all. Learning for entertainment, sure, a short-term hobby, fine. But if you're not where you want to be in life, those short-term hobbies are just distractions. Now we talked about guitar, but let's get even more practical for my creative peeps. Most of you are creatives. Think Photoshop, After Effects, Adobe Premiere. Learning these tools substantially increases your ability to create, to bring your mind into reality, but most people trying to learn these, they watch an hour-long tutorial covering every single tool in the Photoshop sidebar. Again, you're learning 95% of stuff you'll never use. A total waste of your precious time. You start with what you're trying to do. You're trying to create an image. And here's the thing, you have no business learning Photoshop if you're not actively working towards a goal that requires it. Because when you have a goal and you need to learn a skill or software to achieve it, you learn it so much faster. If you're just learning Photoshop because you're bored, seriously, go read a fiction book instead. You don't learn skills for entertainment, you learn them for utility. So, you have an image you want to create, you want to put a tree on a different background, but you don't know how. Now, you're learning narrows, you focus on how to remove the background from a tree. You watch a few videos, you realize there are many ways, you experiment. You find that specific technique for selecting and masking objects is better for a complex tree than a plain object, because trees have all those tricky little bits. Once you accomplish that, once that background is gone, that little piece of knowledge, that technique solidifies in your mind, you know it exists, you can do it faster next time. And for those who know Photoshop, selecting and masking objects gets you 50% of the way there. You know how to do many things if you master that. As these techniques stack, you've not only saved yourself countless hours of learning nonsense, but you can effectively create almost anything you set your mind to, onto insight. Number 2, progressive overload of the mind. Skills are groups of neural pathways formed by repetition and practice. Think of a technique as a single neural pathway, a single piece of the skill puzzle. When you collect enough pieces to the point of seeing 80% of the overall image, you can infer most of what you need to know. Imagine a puzzle not yet put together. That is the skill you're trying to learn. When all the pieces are together, you've mastered it. But by learning techniques, you're putting together little pieces, until you reach 50, 60, 70, 80%. You can infer what the rest looks like, even the empty spots. Oh, I see the picture now. The same goes for skill acquisition. The more you learn, the faster you get. Exponentially, for example, if you're learning Spanish, and you understand a few techniques, you can say, "Where by water?" Most people will understand. You don't need to perfectly articulate. Where is the most opportune location to acquire potable liquid, they can infer. Are you a master? No. Are you making progress? Yes, you're not blocked. You're not sitting around doing nothing because you don't have the whole skill. Now let's look at a more difficult example, playing guitar, Photoshop, Spanish. These don't carry much risk. They're not tied to your self-worth, your ego, your survival. But what about making money? When I say making money is a skill, or being unable to make money is a skill issue, people go absolutely bonkers. No, it is not a skill. It is determined by my oppression, by society, by Mercury being in retrograde. It is the same with making friends or building relationships. When your self, image, your emotions, your survival, your sense of identity, when these come into play, All these distractions, these excuses, start popping into your mind, preventing you from even taking the first step. But remember, control what you can control. You can practice that until you're incredibly good at it. The thing about money is most people find it hard to see it as something within their direct control because they're burdened by conditioning, programmed by teachers, parents, life experiences that warp their perception of money. While you can't control that past conditioning, you can control your reaction to those impulses, that instant negative reaction when someone says, making money is a skill, or talking to new people is a skill. But remember, you can control your reaction, and that alone is a skill that will accelerate your learning of many other skills. If you pull back those irrational thoughts, those clouds in your head about money, about your goals, the things stopping you from execution, you'd realize that the ability to make money can be learned extremely fast. I'm not talking about some get-rich-quick scheme that here is a business model, copy exactly what I did, get-rich-quick nonsense. Those don't work. What I'm saying is that the skills that compose making money or busyness can be learned incredibly fast. If you don't let your mind distract you, it is like hitting a three-pointer, a beginner barely able to dribble. It is pure luck if they sink one, but a pro 99% of the time, they nail it. A professor of business, or the billionaires with billion-dollar valuations. You don't even have to be there to make life. Changing money, you just need to be 20, 30, 40% of the way there. And that can be done in 6 months. 6 months. That is all you need to change your life. If you can simply focus for that amount of time, unlearning the crap, learning the techniques you need, and practicing them to make money, you get to 20, 30, 40% of the skill learned, and you can make $100,000 a year, or 200, 300. That is a solid range, what most people are aiming for. But they assume they need to reach that 100% level. They need to be the NBA pro, when you don't even care about getting that far in business. You're not chasing a unicorn startup valuation. People tell me I'm good at breaking things down, making them seem less daunting. It is the same with money, because I've seen it myself. So if you want to make money, you start with the purpose. To make money. To make money. What do you need? Something to sell, and someone to buy it. If you don't have an idea of what to sell, then you go and search for specific knowledge that teaches you about coming up with a profitable product. Idea. I've written many guides on this. I'll link one in the description below. A mega guide to creating a product. If you keep your mind at bay during this process, you end up building the product. I've worked with so many creators, businesses, brands. They have this amazing product idea. A year later, I ask them, hey, where is that product? Oh, I never even started building it. You don't make money if you don't have a product or service to sell. Obvious, right? But your mind, your doubts, your excuses, they get in the way. You haven't mastered that skill yet. Now, let's say you have a product, but nobody's buying it. So what do you research? How to generate traffic. You find out you can start a personal brand, post social media content. Do SEO, cold outreach, Facebook ads, all these different techniques. All of them work. Some are better than others depending on your situation.